Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Fireside Chats with AR Farina. That's me. Hello. We're coming to the end of our Sense and Sensibility show. And today I thought we would spend some time talking about the role of the military in Sense and Sensibility. Now, as I've discussed previously, every Jane Austen book has to deal with military. There has to be some religious aspect to it. These are the things that were important to her life. Her dad was a clergyman. Her brothers were in the military. This is what she knew. This is what men of honor did. And it's really fascinating, too. And again, once again, we're going to come back to, can you be virtuous and have money? And I think both of these next two episodes really delve into that. So in the military side of things, we've got Colonel Brandon. And Colonel Brandon is both. He's wealthy and he's virtuous. So what's interesting is in Austen's time, a lot of time the military men, they didn't matter what their family were. Everybody served in the military. It was just something everybody did. There was no, like in modern day, serving in the military isn't necessarily something that everybody from every family does. Oftentimes people of high wealth don't go, or they pay somebody to, they're like, they don't have to go, or they get bone spurs, or they get a doctor's note, or they join the National Guard. And not that there's anything wrong with joining the National Guard, but there's a lot of times it's like that's how people get out of service because their families are well-to-do. And it used to just be a thing that everybody did, and now it's not. And it was like in order, almost like a prerequisite for public service that you served, you did military service, and now that is not the case. And in Austen's time, you could do all that, right? You could serve and be wealthy and actually gain some of your wealth. Sometimes they would get like the spoils of war to gain their wealth. Sometimes you just had family wealth, but you still went and served anyway. And so Colonel Brandon, our stand-in for all military here, is virtuous, he's good, he's a soldier, he's wealthy, he's a philanthropist, he does all of this all in one go. And so Austen puts a lot of pressure on him to be this great guy. And I have always found his relationship with Marianne to be a little bit weird. He is a lot older than her. He is only 4 years younger than Marianne's mom. He's 16, 17 years older than Marianne. And I understand it's the time. We'll get into the other books. We'll see the same kind of trend. But Colonel Brandon is truly a hero. He's heroic. He's not just a good guy hero, but he is a good guy and he does the right thing. And so he has a code. And so he is kind of a stand-in for all soldiers. Like all soldiers should live to be like Colonel Brandon. And we see in other books, and we see, especially in the next one, we get into Pride and Prejudice, we see people who join the military and who aren't honorable, who don't do the right thing as soldiers. Where Colonel Brandon becomes a colonel, not just because he's rich, because back then you could actually buy yourself a commission, whereas like in the modern day, you have to go to school, you have to do work, you have to earn promotions to become an officer, to get your commission. There's a lot more to it. You can't just be rich and be like, I'm just going to buy myself a commission, I'm going to be this. And we could argue that Colonel Brandon probably did that, but there's enough evidence here that shows us that he didn't do that he worked his way up. Maybe he did buy his commission, but he earned being a colonel. Maybe he bought his way in as a lieutenant or whatever. And it's just a way to get a command, even when you don't necessarily deserve it. But he was a real good guy, and he is virtuous. And so there's a lot of virtue signaling across all of Austen, but specifically when it came to the military men. And so I believe that Colonel Brandon is definitely a stand-in for some of her older brothers as these great men who did great things and then who are rewarded by getting, the woman, the girl, in this case, of their dreams. And the thing is Colonel Brandon even has to wait. Like he has competition, he has Willoughby who's out there, and he stays virtuous, he stays true, and at the end he does the right thing, and the right thing is ultimately what, gets it for him. So pretty amazing. Go Colonel Brandon. He's pretty cool. Again, a little too old, a little too maybe not what you think is right for Marianne, but probably the exact right thing for Marianne. So anyway, that's it. So come back next time and we'll talk about the clergy in Sense and Sensibility. And then after that, we'll get into Sense and Sensibility in comparison to my book, That Other Dashwood Girl. Really looking forward to that. So thanks everybody, and we will see you next time.